So, good morning,
Morning,
Mark and
Andy.
Joe.
Morning, Manny.
Please, could you just introduce yourselves to everyone to start with?
Sure. I'm Mark Webber. Got a small tax consulting business.
Hi, I'm Joe Weber, and I'm a short-term insurance broker with Broker Show.
Awesome, thank you. So, before you came to coaching, what was it that you were having concerns about that made you eventually pick up the telephone? Shall we start with you, Mark?
Yeah, I think from our side I was letting a lot of outside influences affect how I live my life and how I manage what I do, and I think that was the biggest thing, and it also affected Joe and I to a certain degree.
Okay, and how was that affecting your stress levels?
Badly. I was under. Yeah, I think I was under more stress than I needed to be because I let so many other things affect the way I thought and the way I did things.
Okay, so you're kind of letting your external environment dictate how you lived your life.
Absolutely, yes.
Cool. And what about you, Joe? Kind of what were some of the concerns you had that encouraged you to come for coaching?
I think it was more a little bit of work stuff where I was also being affected by clients and not knowing how to sort of deal with them, and kind of putting, not blame, but taking everything on myself. And then in a personal level, I think when we had a sort of a disagreement or discussion, we were not getting anywhere, and we were kind of rehashing the same things every now and again, and we weren't resolving anything.
All right, yeah, they say that couples don't have 1,000 different arguments. They have the same argument 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of couples can relate to that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, Joe, did both of you buy in to coming to coaching immediately, or did it take one of you a little bit more time to warm to the idea?
I think I was very keen in the beginning, and then I said to Mark, let's give it a go. And then once we got here and we started learning new things, I think I took a little bit longer to get my head around it than what Mark did.
Okay.
But eventually, yes, got to the same page.
Yeah. And Mark, what was your experience?
I think I certainly, it took me probably 3, maybe 4 sessions before it actually started to make sense. And to be absolutely honest, and I think I've said it to you before, I was, at one point I thought, what is the point? We sort of not discussing things. You were sort of saying, no, but that's not the issue. We'll understand. We'll see why later. And I think once I got that, then it certainly makes sense. And then I got it, and that's when I think I started seeing the rewards.
Yeah, I think that's the experience that most people have, is that initially, I'm not even letting you talk about the real issues
that's what
between
I
the two of
expected,
you.
Yeah.
And we're laying a foundation.
Yeah.
We're laying a foundation that will give you the tools that when we do talk about the issues between you, you've got a different way of approaching it that is actually comes to some kind of conclusion and solution rather than the going round in circles.
And it actually, you understand why each of us are doing it and reacting that way, which means you actually don't have to hash it out anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys learned that very well, so well done.
I think also when you're learning it, if you're somebody like me who's got a bit of performance anxiety and want to get things right the first time, it takes a bit of time, and also can be a bit frustrating. And then once you relax about that and then get to understand, it's much easier.
Yeah, once you realize it's not about performance.
Yeah.
So from your experience so far with the coaching, what are some of the skills that you've learned that have really made an impact on your relationship and how you relate to life?
I think from our side, I think the biggest thing is whenever there is something that makes us grumpy or happy, whichever way, I say to myself, why do I feel like this? And I think once I think about that, it makes sense, whether it's from childhood, whether it's from more recently, whatever it is, and it just makes it easier, and then I get over it much quicker, and I think, well, when Jo reacts in a certain way, I can say, well, understand why she's reacting like that, and then either give her time or deal with it in a easier way and a calmer way than I used to, where I try, and also I've learned to not try and fix it. That it is how it is, and there's a reason we're acting like that, we're behaving like that, and so let's just let it be and then deal with it in a much calmer way.
And that's quite a big leap especially for a guy, hey, not
Absolutely.
jumping in to fix things
Yes.
every single time, but
'Cause
rather
yes.
being able to listen and be present. Yeah,
That
I think
yeah.
that what guys realize is that the listening is the fixing.
Yes.
By just listening and not offering
Yes.
your favorite solution,
Yeah.
that is what actually solves the problem ultimately, because it gives your partner time to process.
Yes. And I think with having each session where we hash certain things out, as I've realized why Jo reacts the way she does with certain things. And so then I can have the compassion and whatever that you need to.
Yeah, well done. And Jo, what are the skills that you found the most useful?
So I've learned to take a breath and kind of step back and not answer too quickly or say something too quickly, and to look at the situation and decide whether it's me or whether it's the other person, so the me, not me, as you've taught us, which helps quite a lot, especially in my family, and also with clients, because sometimes a client can be having a bit of a rant, and it's easier now for me to say, well, let them have their rant and then try and, help them.
They might have had a bad day.
They might have had a bad day, or
Yeah.
yes, you never know what someone's been through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So instead of being reactive, you're now
Yes,
able to
much
sit and
less
hold
reactive.
space for them and be present,
Yeah.
and then allow them to express whatever it is they need to, which
Yes.
it's a rare gift actually. There's not many people who can do that.
And
So well
sometimes
done.
that's all you need, is just a little bit of space for someone to hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And once they've been heard, then they calm down
Yes.
themselves. Well done.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think at times Jo's learned that I'm right normally. You can leave that in.
No, we'll definitely put that in.
Amongst ourselves, I'm much less reactive when Mark if he's grumpy or sad or whatever. I can now think about, and give him the space to have this. I was never good at giving space.
So
I
how
wanted
did
to
it
try
just
and fix it, and I'd ask him questions, and I'd kind of want to know and find the solution.
Yeah, immediate thing, whether I was feeling a bit sick or whether I was feeling quiet, whatever, Jo would straight away try and say, well, have you taken your tablets? Have you done this? And I used to say,
Have you had some
yeah,
water?
have you had water? So, don't tell me how to fix it, just hear me. And I think that's what we do now. And
We listen
I think
better.
the reality is we are far better together in that we don't actually fight anymore. We disagree slightly, but when we disagree, like a couple of seconds and it's done.
Yeah.
Because it's just our minds are, I suppose, trained that way that it's not an issue.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. So you can kind of untangle what is irrelevant and
Yes.
doesn't matter, and focus on what does matter and what will actually grow your relationship or find solutions for you.
Yeah. And it didn't happen straight away, because there was times when Jo would use our coaching on me at certain times, and I would react in the old way. But I think in time now, it really is.
Yeah.
much
We,
easier.
we call that weaponizing the skills. Yeah, a lot of people do that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Instead of moving away from each other and finding calmness and a loving, kind response, they go and lock and reload.
Yeah. Another way to
A new set
prove
of attack.
that you're right.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah.
A new set of attack
Yeah.
arguments
Yeah.
to come back with. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very common.
Yeah.
But well done for picking it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mark's always said he wanted things to be calmer, and they definitely are calmer now because we're not reacting to each other
Yes.
and kind of being in fight and flight, and one says this and then the other one says that, and that we're much calmer now with that.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how other couples manage without these skills,
Yeah.
because the way that those sort of conversations escalate into
Yes.
like outright screaming matches
Yeah.
sometimes is
Absolutely.
like it
Yeah.
can't ever have a positive long-term effect on a relationship. It
Yeah.
doesn't build trust and
Yeah.
harmony, you know.
No, absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
can see if you hear somebody else having an argument and you just think, oh, it's time to walk away, else you're never going to fix it.
Yeah. So how have these skills helped your stress levels overall? Can you give an idea of before and after?
Can you go?
Yeah, I think certainly from our side, the stress levels are a lot less because I'm a lot less reactive. And it's not that the same things that used to stress me out don't happen anymore. They still happen, whether it's a client, whether it's Joe, whatever it is. It still happens, but I think I process it in a much calmer way. And if it's me, not me, or whichever way it is, I just let it be. And then in half an hour's time, it's not that big, and I can move on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, as simple as that, I think.
Yeah. And what have you found, Joe?
Yeah, I'm definitely much more open to listening and hearing and not reacting. I think the biggest thing for me is the reacting, and not taking somebody else's words or actions as though I've done something.
Yeah.
You know,
Well done.
yeah.
Taking it personally.
Taking it personally, and then trying to figure out and spending time, working myself up
Yeah.
to figure out what it was that I did when actually it wasn't me at all.
No.
Yeah.
And it's not as though we don't get angry and pissed off and whatever it may be, we still do.
Yeah.
But I think I always say to myself, why am I feeling like that? And when I actually think about it, it makes it much easier to get over it when I realize why I'm thinking like that.
Yeah.
Or why
absolutely.
Joe's reacting like that. So you get over it much quicker. It's not like you stop having emotions, but you deal with it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I always teach my clients is that when they come to me and I ask them what it will take, what needs to happen before you can feel this peace and calm in the world, they come up with a list of things, like my bank balance needs to be better, my spouse needs to be a better person, my kids need to be behaving in a certain way, the government needs to be making better decisions, and the list goes on. And the chances of that happening are zero, right?
Yeah.
So that means they're never going to find their peace and happiness. Whereas what I teach you is to be calm and at peace with yourselves, as if you're standing in the eye of a storm while the storm continues to rage around you.
Yeah.
So life is going to continue to happen exactly as it's happening now. The only thing different is that you can be calm and at peace
Yeah.
with all of those stormy influences going
And I think
on
when
at the
you
same
add
time.
calm in that storm, you deal with things much better.
Yes.
You
You have access
process,
to all your...
you plan everything so much better.
I think in your words, you have access to your superpowers.
Yes, absolutely. Your brain, you actually have access to those logic and reasoning and creativity when you calm, so that you can solve problems and plan ahead, and the emotional intelligence to come back to each other with a kind and loving response rather than ripping each other's heads off. How has the coaching helped with your relationship with each other and with your family and friends? Has that changed much?
Yeah, certainly. I'll go again. In terms of Joe and I, it's helped massively, and I suppose you see it more because you spend so much time together.
Absolutely.
I think just because we are both more calm, we don't react when we're in fight and flight. We then understand, through the various coaching sessions, we've realized why we are like we are with certain things. whether it's from childhood or whatever.
So you know each other better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
At a deeper level.
Absolutely. And it's made both of us realize why we react, and so we deal with, we accept it and deal with it so much better between us.
Yeah,
I
well
think
done.
family and friends, very similar in that if there is something and we have a disagreement or something frustrates me about family or friends or whatever, I also then am able to say to myself why, and sometimes where I would blame, I would always try and blame and find a reason that they've done wrong. I actually think about it, well, why did I react like that? Maybe it's me. And then it's much easier.
And are you now able to make your own decisions rather than relying on those outside influences?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that I was always a little bit more like that. What other people thought affected me, but not quite as much. I think Jo was a little bit more like that. She worried, between us, I think we didn't want to let other people down much, and now, as much as we still don't want to let people down, we understand it's easier, we deal with it because we can think about it better.
Well done.
If that makes sense.
And what have you noticed, Jo?
I think with
me again, she understands I'm right normally.
Well, I think Mark's answered the sort of between him and I pretty well. And family and friends. I think family, I'm a lot more kind of understanding, and not that I wasn't before, but compassionate and in what that person is going through. You know, that it's got nothing to do with me, how they are.
So you can allow them to be them.
Yes, and if they're having a bad day, to just support rather than try and fix or go at them to try and make them feel better. You know, to try and ask questions and whatever, just give them the space.
Jo, once we had kind of like progressed beyond the foundation phase and we started going a little deeper, you had some really profound experiences. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, so in the beginning, I found it quite difficult, especially because you get down to kind of really the heart stuff. And it was difficult because I felt self-conscious and I wasn't kind of sure sometimes what the answer was. And
you had to get the answer right.
Yes, I had to get the answer.
It wasn't about what you were actually feeling, it was about what I wanted to hear.
Yes, it was what... And then, you know, obviously each time it got easier because I realized that it was, as you said, wasn't about what you wanted to hear. It was actually just taking a breath and, you know, just stopping and feeling and then trying to figure out, you know, what that emotion was or the thought or whatever it was. And yes, sometimes it was really, really tough and it would even affect me for the rest of the day. But then so much easier to let it go.
Right. And how would it affect you for the rest of the day?
Some days I'd feel pretty flat. Some days I'd go and have a sleep. Some days I wouldn't be able to focus on anything else. And other days, once I'd had the release, if I can call it that, I was energized. So it depended on what we were talking about. Because
a lot of people say it can be quite disorientating for a couple of hours after coaching to sort of have these profound changes happening inside your body, really.
Yes, it was, and sometimes quite exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we always tell people that after a coaching session like that, it's a good idea to really nurture yourself. You know, go and drink herbal teas and have a hot bath and really pamper yourself and just allow your mind and your body a little bit of time to process it.
Give yourself permission to do what feels right. You know, I've always been someone who, when it's sort of work time, you're working and whatever.
You have to be productive.
You have to be productive and get things done, and you know you can't slacken off. But certainly on some of those days I did. I went and got under my duvet.
Well done. Well done.
I think from my side, it was almost the opposite. I loved when it was like, some days it was Joe's turn, some days it was my turn. And I actually loved it because I think it made me like, sure, that's why I'm like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm reacting like that. That's why Joe's reacting like that. And yeah, so I actually really enjoyed it.
Because, the brain is always trying to make sense of things. So it's trying to figure things out. But if it's only using the information from the situation at hand in the present, then it doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if you do go into the past, and especially into your childhood, and you examine why you behave that way, then it makes perfect sense. And suddenly your brain can relax and go, okay, I know why I'm reacting like that, and it's all right. I can let it go.
Yes.
Instead of trying to defend
exactly it. Yeah.
And actually, you do let it go. That's the amazing thing, is that it just
and at time,
kind of fizzles out.
It actually, because those kind of things that happen, they continue to happen.
Yes.
But you almost don't even know they're happening now because you don't react to them, and you understand it, and it is what it is.
Yeah. It gives you quite a sense of freedom, doesn't it?
Yes.
To no longer be kind of rattled by every little trigger that happens during the day, like reacting. And then instead of being constantly in this fight and flight state, now you can just let go of things and deal with whatever comes your way in that calm, relaxed manner with your full capacity, intellectual capacity at your service.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
I think it's also a case, we've been so many times we've been to psychologists and that, and it's always about you're trying to fix it, and it ends up with, okay, so she needs to do this because it is actually her fault that, or I need to be more calm, I'm reacting badly to that, it's actually, I need to change that, it's me. Yeah. Whereas now it's not about who's right and wrong. Yeah. It's about why it is and reasons you're feeling like that, and that's where I think what makes it so much easier. Yeah. And yes, it took a long time, but I think that's the point now. If Joe irritates me because she drives too fast, it's not actually it's actually not Joe's problem. It's mine. I hate being in the car. I don't have control, all that sort of thing. So now, Joe, we had a session on it. Now I understand why, but Joe also understands. So she drives a bit slower, and I don't let it worry me. So it's easy.
And I hardly tell him where to park now.
So
yeah, that's amazing.
And I think, man, just from our side, and no, you haven't asked the question, but I think the bottom line is we are, having been with you for probably a year and a half, 2 years, we are 100 times better off than we were emotionally, mentally, everything. It took a bit of time, but I personally am way ahead. I'm way happier in the sense that I have whatever I've always wanted, calm, relaxed way. And I think we are calm and relaxed because we don't let things get to us, and it's not something that we need to fix. It's okay. And so
we have a greater understanding,
and so we thank you for that massively. Yeah, it's been huge.
Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to work with the two of you, because you've been fabulous with the way that you've applied yourselves and taken it seriously, because some people can come and never do the homework and never apply themselves, and then it really isn't going to change anything, because this is a little bit more like physiotherapy than it is like psychology. That I can't do the sit-ups and the push-ups for you. You have to go home and do those the sort of exercises and the things that I give you for homework and practice them, so that when you come back you've got the skill, and then we can apply it in the coaching. So well done.
And anybody who's not sure, if you come and if you don't listen to them, like when I'm trying to say, well, Joe was doing this, and you actually like almost cut me off at the beginning, I thought, no, that's wrong. Listen to me. But by the third or fourth one, I understood why, because it was irrelevant.
Yeah.
So
you were saying earlier about how initially when you went for therapy, it was all about making behavioral changes. And often I find with people when they're trying to make behavioral changes, it's dependent on your willpower.
Yes.
And willpower is exhausting. You can only apply it for a certain amount
Yeah.
of time. Ask anybody who's been on a diet and exercise program.
Yeah.
They can be successful. Some people are even successful for a few months.
Yeah.
And then it all falls apart and they go back to the way that they were before. So what I found is that to have real change,
Yeah.
you have to change from the inside
Yes.
out, which is why we do the work that we do,
Yeah.
so that you can really let it go instead
Yeah.
of having to sort of like stress yourself out striving to achieve this change in behavior that doesn't always last.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like the stop smoking, that Carr, what's his name?
Alan
Carr way of stopping
Okay.
smoking. It's not about giving up stopping smoking. You understand why you smoke, and so you actually give up without willpower. It's just easy.
Yeah.
And then most of those people don't start smoking again because it's not giving up. Whereas willpower, you do for a while and then
You
start
fall
again.
back into the old patterns. Yeah,
That's just,
somebody I was listening to likened this to the difference between Newtonian, Newton's laws,
Oh, yes,
which
yeah.
are like, so behavioral changes is very much like set a goal, come up with a strategy step by step to get to that goal and repeat over and over.
Yeah.
So it's very arduous and has sort of like a very one-dimensional
Yes,
change.
rigid, yes.
So now you change, you stop the behavior, but nothing else has really
Yeah.
changed. Whereas what we're doing, which is change at an internal identity level, it's more like an Einsteinian effect.
Yes.
In that moment that you have that realization, that insight, both your past, all your experiences from your past that you looked back on negatively as being something that happened to me and I'm a victim of my circumstances, is unraveled.
Yeah.
And then all your potential for your future suddenly opens up.
Yeah.
Because now you can go forward completely
Yes.
different.
So those goals almost just take care of themselves. Though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So well done. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Andy.
Yeah.